As we transition into our 60s, 70s, or even 80s, we encounter profound shifts, not only in our physical health, but also in our perspectives, priorities, and ways of connecting with the world around us. Have you ever found yourself craving quiet moments, steering away from social events, and seeking the sanctuary of family and inner peace? This isn't merely a preference. It's often a deeper need to nurture your spirit and protect your well-being. Today, let's explore this theme through the experiences of two individuals, Mr. Samuel and Mrs. Elizabeth, whose journeys offer timeless lessons in respecting personal boundaries, cultivating thoughtful relationships, and finding peace within ourselves. At the age of 65, Mr. Samuel was a kind and optimistic man who had always cherished the joys of connection. One fateful day, while shopping at the market, he bumped into a childhood friend he hadn't seen in decades. Their reunion was an emotional one, filled with laughter, memories, and tales of how life had taken them on different paths. Touched by the nostalgia, Samuel accepted an invitation to join his friend and his family for dinner. That evening was filled with warmth, storytelling, and laughter. Moved by the experience, Samuel decided to visit his friend regularly. Each weekend, he showed up with home-cooked meals, eager to relive their shared memories and strengthen their bond. Initially, his friend's family welcomed him warmly, enjoying the occasional company and camaraderie. But over time, the regularity of these visits began to disrupt their own routines. The friend's teenage son, in particular, felt that their weekends, once reserved for family time, had become a bit too crowded. While no one wanted to hurt Samuel's feelings, the growing discomfort eventually led to a delicate conversation. Samuel's friend gently explained that while his visits were appreciated, the family also needed their personal time. Hearing this, Samuel felt an initial sting of sadness. Having rediscovered the joy of friendship after years of loneliness, he had assumed his presence was always welcome. But as he reflected on the situation, Samuel realized that his friend's words were spoken with care and honesty. He understood that he had unintentionally overstepped the family's boundaries. This experience taught Samuel an important lesson. Friendship and connection thrive on balance and mutual respect. He decided to shift his focus, dedicating more time to activities that brought him joy independently. He joined a seniors club, picked up painting, and rediscovered the simple pleasure of long walks. Through these new pursuits, Samuel made new friends and reconnected with himself in a meaningful way. His journey reminds us that relationships are not defined by the frequency of our interactions, but by the quality of understanding and empathy we share. Sometimes, a little distance allows bonds to flourish, while also respecting each other's space. And perhaps the most fulfilling relationship is the one we build with ourselves. Mrs. Elizabeth, a lively woman in her early 70s, had always been a social butterfly. After retiring, she threw herself into community events, dances, and neighborhood gatherings with enthusiasm. These moments of connection brought her vitality and joy, providing a circle of peers with whom she could share laughter, stories, and support. During one such gathering, the group discussion turned to family life. In a casual moment, Elizabeth mentioned that some daughters-in-law seemed less proactive in household matters. To her, it was an offhand remark, made without malice or specific intention. But as often happens, the comment found its way back to her daughter-in-law, who felt hurt and criticized. This misunderstanding led to tension in their relationship. The warmth that had once existed between Elizabeth and her daughter-in-law was replaced with distance and formality. Elizabeth was initially puzzled by the change, but when she learned how her words had been interpreted, she felt a pang of regret. Realizing the impact of her comment, Elizabeth reached out to her daughter-in-law with sincerity. She apologized, explaining that her remark had not been directed at her personally, but was a general observation made in passing. Over time, through patience and genuine effort, they began to rebuild their relationship. Elizabeth's story reminds us of the power of words and the importance of mindfulness in communication. As we age, our relationships become more precious, and fostering harmony often requires extra thoughtfulness. A small moment of reflection before speaking can prevent misunderstandings and preserve the bonds we hold dear. Both Samuel and Elizabeth offer valuable insights for navigating the complexities of relationships during this stage of life. While Samuel learned the importance of respecting personal boundaries and finding joy within, Elizabeth discovered how crucial it is to approach interactions with sensitivity and care. These stories encourage us to embrace the balance between connection and solitude, to value understanding over assumption, and to nurture not just our relationships with others, but also the one we have with ourselves. As we grow older, life may slow down, but the richness of our experiences deepens. By cherishing each moment, honoring the space and feelings of those around us, and remaining open to growth, we can create a life filled with peace, joy, and meaningful connections. Let these lessons guide you toward a life of harmony, where every interaction is thoughtful, every bond is cherished, and every step is filled with grace. The daughter-in-law had always been a sensitive person, but after a particular incident, her feelings became even more fragile. A comment that seemed harmless to others, even somewhat casual, struck her deeply. The remark left Elizabeth feeling disheartened, and though she tried to brush it off, she soon realized how small, seemingly insignificant moments can build up into bigger issues. The teacher had felt reassured by the comments made by the mother-in-law, but the daughter-in-law was hurt. This simple difference in perception highlighted something important to Elizabeth: how vital communication is, especially in family relationships. It wasn't just about saying the right words, but choosing them carefully, as a small misstep could lead to misunderstandings. Elizabeth came to understand that every word she spoke needed to be considered, not only because it could be misunderstood, but also because words carry the weight of the relationships they represent. The way we communicate reveals how much we value others. Elizabeth's experience is a reminder of how sensitive communication can be, particularly in close-knit family relationships. As we age, these bonds can grow fragile, and the simplest things, like a remark or an offhand comment, can cause ripples. Every word matters, and one careless remark can lead to distance, while kind and thoughtful words can bring people closer together. Words can either build walls or bridges, and Elizabeth's reflection on this reminded her to always be mindful, cherishing the people around her and maintaining peace in her communication. At the age of 65, Mr. Martin had lived a full life. He had worked hard, raised children, and experienced the highs and lows that life had to offer. Now, he desired peace, a quiet existence where he could tend to his garden, read his favorite books, and sip tea by the window, watching the sunset. Yet, life had its own plans, and the reality of aging brought challenges that Mr. Martin had not anticipated, especially in the relationships around him. As time went on, the connections he once had seemed to grow distant, with gaps that felt impossible to bridge. One day, Mr. Martin's old friend Charles, a classmate from his younger years, invited him to visit. Charles, now a successful man, had a large home and a thriving family, children and grandchildren who lived prosperous lives. Their first meeting was warm and filled with nostalgic conversations about the old days, their youth, and the families they had built. But as the visits continued, Mr. Martin couldn't shake the feeling of sadness that began to settle in. Charles would talk about family vacations in luxurious places, while Mr. Martin could only find joy in his small garden and modest home. Every time Mr. Martin returned home, he felt a sense of emptiness. He couldn't help but wonder if he had made the right choices in life, or if there was something he had missed that could have made his life more fulfilling. With each visit, the feeling of inadequacy deepened. The once relaxed reunions started to feel more like burdens, leaving him with a sense of unease. The road back from Charles' house began to seem longer, and at night, in the quiet of his home, his mind wandered into a place of comparison. The more he compared his life to his friends, the heavier his heart grew. After many sleepless nights and long periods of introspection, Mr. Martin came to a realization. Instead of continuing to meet with friends in a way that only caused him discomfort, he decided to focus on the life he had and appreciate it. He started spending more time in his garden, nurturing his plants, and even adopted a small dog to keep him company. Slowly, he discovered that true happiness wasn't something to chase in material possessions or external success. It was found in simple, everyday moments. The peacefulness of his morning routine, the chirping of birds, the joy of his children and grandchildren visiting, and the comfort of their stories about their daily lives. Mr. Martin's journey offers a valuable lesson. As we grow older, the temptation to compare ourselves to others or feel like we've missed out on something can be strong. However, true peace comes not from external validation or achievements, but from embracing the simple pleasures of life. We don't need grand accomplishments to feel fulfilled. Instead, we can find contentment in the quiet moments and the love we share with those around us. Living a humble, independent life, free from the pressures of comparison, is the path to finding inner peace. This realization led Mr. Martin to a profound sense of tranquility. His mind was no longer disturbed by unnecessary worries or self-doubt. He had come to understand that at this stage of life, what truly mattered was the peace of mind that came from appreciating what he had. It's a reminder for all of us that as we age, our happiness does not need to be tied to material wealth or the successes of others. Instead, it lies in the quiet moments and the contentment we find within our own lives. As we journey through life, we are like travelers, looking back and reflecting on the paths we've taken, the milestones we've reached, and the footprints we've left behind. Each stage of life offers new lessons, and the older we get, the more clearly we see what truly matters. True joy, as Mr. Martin learned, is not found in comparisons or external accomplishments. It's found in embracing the present moment, finding peace within ourselves, and appreciating the simple beauty of life. In the journey of life, there are days that shine brightly under the sun, and others that pour with endless rain. These contrasting moments remind us that both joy and sorrow play vital roles in shaping our lives, contributing to the grand story we live. As we age, it's easy to think of it as the closing of a chapter, but in truth, it's merely the beginning of a new one. A chance to turn the page and continue our story, not with the aim of competing or proving anything to the world, but with the intent to live authentically, cherishing each and every moment. Reflecting back, we often realize that the peace we seek is not found in fame or fortune, but in the quiet, simple pleasures that life offers. The warmth of sunlight in the morning, the comfort of a steaming cup of tea, or the laughter of a grandchild's smile. These are the moments that bring us true peace. As we look back on the journey we've made, we see that life isn't just a series of events, but a collection of memories and lessons learned. At this stage of life, we have earned the right to be proud of the experiences we've had. Each smile, each tear, has been part of creating a picture of life that is uniquely ours. The struggles that once felt like burdens have transformed into lessons, making us stronger and wiser. Whether they are moments of happiness or sadness, each memory is a part of the beautiful mosaic that is our life. Old age is not about regret. It's about embracing all that we've lived, finding gratitude in the past, and forgiving those who have wronged us as well as ourselves. Let the old pain fall away, like leaves drifting gently from the branches of a tree, clearing the way for new growth and fresh perspectives. It's an opportunity to live in the present with peace of mind, knowing that we've given our best in all the roles we've played, whether as children, partners, parents, or now as grandparents. Stories like those of Samuel, Elizabeth, and Martin remind us that true peace comes when we learn to release what isn't ours to hold and begin to appreciate what we have. This peace isn't something that's always out of reach. waiting for us to find it in far-off places. Sometimes, it's in a moment of stillness amidst the chaos of life, when we allow our worries to fade and let our hearts rest. The satisfaction of knowing we've done our best, loved deeply, and lived fully brings a contentment that nothing else can provide. Creating space for ourselves is essential for peace. A quiet corner where we can let our minds wander, where our souls can relax and rejuvenate, is a gift we deserve. And it's okay to set boundaries when needed. Giving ourselves space isn't just about nurturing our own peace, but also giving others the freedom to live their lives as they choose. Being true to who we are is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. When we communicate with care, respecting others' feelings and considering our words, we create harmony in our relationships. A life filled with understanding and respect fosters peace, not only within ourselves, but also in the world around us. When we reach a point of contentment with what we have, we begin to see that happiness is never too far away. Happiness doesn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes it's found in the smallest of things. A peaceful day spent with loved ones, a quiet afternoon lost in the pages of a good book, or the simple joy of tending to a garden. Being true to ourselves, living authentically, is the greatest treasure we can give to our lives. The path that lies ahead is filled with hope and possibilities. No matter how long or short the road may be, walking with an open heart and a peaceful mind will guide us toward the deepest happiness. Let the morning sun lift the heaviness of past sorrow. Let the gentle breeze of the afternoon bring us back to ourselves, reminding us that true happiness is not something we can hold in our hands or measure by accomplishments. It's about feeling, appreciating, and being present in each and every moment. As we live each day, let us remember that it's a gift, one that should be cherished. In the end, it's not the things we accumulate or the successes we achieve that define us, but the peace we carry within and the love we share with others. Thank you for taking the time to listen. May you always be blessed with good health, filled with positive energy, and find peace in every moment of your life. Remember, old age isn't the end. It's a new beginning, a beginning full of peace, freedom, and a happiness that runs deeper than anything we've known before. If you found peace in these words, I invite you to stay connected. Join me for more reflections, stories, and moments that will inspire you to live with an open heart. The journey is just beginning.